Salutations readers, welcome back to my channel. My name is Nkechi, and today I'm going to talk about the worst books that I've read in 2025. Even though 2025, I have definitely prioritized quality over quantity, there's still several books that have slipped through the cracks that were not so good. Granted though, a lot of the books I will be talking about are actually DNFs. I actually did not finish a lot of books I did not enjoy. I think there's only like 4 books that are actually in the bottom 10. Now I do have 2 dishonorable mentions though. One of them I DNF'd. The other one I did finish reading. So yeah, there will also be 2 dishonorable mentions. I didn't want to linger too much into dishonorable mentions since I didn't really read that many books. Like I actually finished reading that many books that were actually considered as the worst books I've read in the year. And one thing I will also make note of actually for this worst books is that all of the books that I will list here in this video are 2025 releases. That means I have read too many 2025 releases, or at least tried to, since again, most of these are DNFs. Regardless though, 2026, I plan not to make such a mistake like that again, which is why I am joined here by this nice, huge Pikachu stuffed animal here with a nice winter hat, just to keep me company while I talk about these books, because it is late at night, so I'll try not to be too loud. However, we still gonna talk about them. So yeah, I'm trying not to linger into it, but I'm gonna have Pikachu right here join us as I talk about the worst books that I've read, or tried to read in 2025. Let's start with the dishonorable mentions. Sitting at 12th place, we have You Were Meant to Be Human by Andrew Joseph White, a book that I got courtesy of Saga Press. I'm so grateful to them for giving me access to this e-arc. However, I did not finish reading it at around 42% because pregnancy horror is just not it for me. Like, I'm here for body horror, but not pregnancy horror. And a lot of the horror is the pregnancy part. I mean, yes, there's definitely the bug stuff with this weird bug cult, but like, honestly, it's pregnancy horror, and I'm not here for it. Give me body horror all day, for real. I love Andrew Joseph White's young adult works, but this adult work just did not work for me. I am in the minority, though. There's definitely a considerable amount of people who have read it and really enjoyed it. I'm just one of those people who did not, unfortunately. And now in 11th place, the only dishonorable mention that I've actually have read, and that is Death of the Author by Nnedi Okorafor. I actually was pretty disappointed with this one. This is definitely one of my most disappointing reads of 2025, not gonna lie. I think I read it back in like February. I don't know, it was so early this year. And I gave it like 3.25 stars. However, I'm putting dishonorable mentions for 2 reasons. One, it so disappointed me because I expected way more from this book, especially since it was literary sci-fi. It was more literary fiction with like part of the story being science fiction, but it didn't, I know the way that was meta, I didn't like the way the author went about the meta fiction of it all. And then 2, I'm putting dishonorable mention because Nnedi Okorafor is an author that I no longer support because of her insensitive comments regarding indigenous communities who see owls as an omen, and she dismissed when people were telling her on threads, mind you, that owls are an omen in certain indigenous tribes and communities and stuff. But she was being completely dismissive about that. So, yeah, I'm not really here for that energy. Don't like that kind of energy. I don't like how the author handled that situation. So, I'm like, yeah, we're not gonna support her works, okay? So no more Okorafor works from 2026 and beyond. But that's it. That's it for this honorable mentions. Let's now get into the bottom 10. In 10th place, we have We Can Never Leave by Edgy Edgman. I DNF'd it at 53%. I actually got it as an e-arc from, I think, Wednesday Books. This is supposed to be like a YA contemporary fantasy that was compared to Sweet Tooth and the Raven Boys. I can see where the Raven Boys comparison was there a little bit with the writing style, but it was so boring to me. Again, I got to like a little bit more than halfway through the book and I was like, okay, where are we going with this? You know, like I don't even know what we're doing with the characters. I was so confused and bored. It was pretty atmospheric, but that's kind of it. And I'm like, look, if I want to read an atmospheric read, I'll just read something else. You know, there's better atmospheric books out there with more plot and interesting characters. Next up, we have number 9, and that is The Bewitching by Sylvia Moreno Garcia. They named it at 36%. I was pretty disappointed with this book, not gonna lie. It just really did not work for me. Like, when I finish reading a Sylvia Moreno Garcia work, it really works for me. And if I DNF it, is because, like, I just cannot be bothered to even finish reading it. Again, I will continue to read more by this author for sure, but this one was just not it. I know a lot of people really enjoyed it, but for me, I just couldn't get into it. I couldn't get into witchiness. I also couldn't even get into, like, the different timelines of it all. I wasn't here for that. And there was this, like, particular side plot line that was happening in one of the timelines that felt incestuous, and I've heard from reviewers that it did go in that incestuous kind of route, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not here for that. especially since I was already bored by everything else. There was just no point in me continue on reading that book. So I just said, you know what? I'm gonna dip out. Then at eighth place, we have Girl Dinner by Ollie Blake. I DNF'd at 50%. I got it as an ALC from Macmillan Audio. This one really just did not work for me at all. I was trying to understand what the direction, like what the point of this novel is. I think it's a contemporary, like literary horror novel with like sorority girls, and one of the main characters is a sorority girl. The other main character is like a professor or something, and I don't know. I didn't really care for either their character work, like the character work at all. I also know this was supposed to be a satire regarding motherhood, girlhood, and stuff like that, but I just wasn't here for the motherhood stuff because the professor is a mother and a wife, and I just didn't care about all that. I understand why I was there for the professor's plotline, and I also know it's pretty much relatable for Olivia Blake, since she's also a mother, but I just could not care about the motherhood of it all. I didn't care about the satire of it all. I just could not care less. Even though it was well narrated, I could not care any less than I already did with that book. And I just wish that, I don't know, I could have given it at least a shot, but no, I at that point, I just want to be done. And then in seventh place, we have The Second Death of Locke by V.L. Babalino. I got it as an e-arc from, I think, Orbit or something. And I deemed it at like 32%. It just was not for me. It's supposed to be the first book in like a standalone companion series, which each book is like contained, but you follow different characters. Gray and Kier, there's also like some sort of romantic relationship between them, since it's also like a romantic fantasy. However, I just did not understand why. There's just like so much yearning between these characters. However, it made no sense to me because like I don't see why they had to yearn when they're already clearly, at least to me, were in love with each other. Like, it was so clear to me. I don't know how between them they don't understand it. And also, I don't really see how in the world they can't be together. Like, in world and within the actual world building, I did not understand that. And also, I found, what was it? Kier? Yeah, I think Kier is the guy. I think that's his name. I didn't care about his personality. His personality was kind of just flat. Like, the depth regarding him is literally as 8.5 by 11, paper thin sheet of paper of copy paper you can get from like the Office Depot. Like, he's so flat and just bland. I didn't even know why Gray saw in him. I really don't. Maybe it's the loyalty of it all, but honestly, the character work was so boring and so flat that I'm just like, I can't even root for this romance. I just cannot. And the plot, don't even get me started on the plot. The plot was just dumb to me. I'm like, why is there a whole book regarding this plot, finding this this heir, when as a reader, actually it's already in the synopsis, so I'm not going to say it now, but like, you do find out, I think, within the first 100 pages who the actual heir is, and I'm just like, so we're going to be like dicking around for a while, trying to like make sure that these characters don't know who the actual heir is when there's someone who's posing as the heir. Weird. I'm not here for it. So moved on from that, and I don't think I'll read anything from this author in the future either, because I wasn't a fan of the writing style. Next up is A Theory of Dreaming by Ava Reed. This is the sequel to A Study in Drowning, and I DNF'd it at 52%. I got it as an e-arc from Harper Teen, and yeah, this was actually one of my earlier DNFs, actually. I think I DNF'd in January. Yeah, and the book didn't even come out until like August. Regardless, though, this book really disappointed me. I think this is one of my most disappointing books I've tried to read in 2025, because I did really enjoy A Study in Drowning. It wasn't a 5-star, but it was a pretty high 4-star read. And I just didn't understand why we needed a sequel. I thought the sequel was completely pointless. Even when it was announced, I was like, wait, why do we have a sequel? But I just want to give it a shot. Like, maybe I'm like, look, maybe, just maybe, I could be persuaded. Maybe there's actually some actual reason to have a sequel. No, there's no reason to have a sequel. I don't know why there's a sequel. There's no point. I don't even know why there's even this, like, I don't know, there's also another book set in this world. I don't understand. Really don't. Honestly, it made me even look at A Study in Drowning a little bit differently, not gonna lie, regarding the character work between Effie and Preston. I was not here for it. I was not here for the plot. I was not here for the character work. I was not here for a lot of things. The writing is still nice and all, but that's pretty much it. Everything else, it gotta go. All right, now we're getting to the bottom 5. And at the 5th spot, we have Watermoon by Samantha Sotoyambo. Yeah. I already have a DNF review video for this book, so I won't linger on it now. You can check it out if you're very much curious. I will link in the video description down below. However, this one is just not it for me. I think I got it from Del Rey, so thanks to Del Rey for the e-arc, but definitely not it for me. Like, at all. I know a lot of people did enjoy reading this. I also have seen people not really enjoy it, so I'm glad I'm not the only one who thought that this book wasn't good, because yeah, the writing was fine. I guess, but I think the whimsy magicalness that's compared to Studio Ghibli was a bit of a stretch, not gonna lie. And the characters, I think the character work was definitely the most egregious here because I'm just like, what the hell are we actually doing right now? It's like we trying to go like just vibes, and I didn't like the vibes at all. As much as the vibes were trying to be somewhat nostalgic and cozy for me, the attempt was poorly missed, unfortunately. And that's actually the last book I have in my bottom 10 that is actually a DNF. So the bottom 4 are books that I actually have read that I finished all the way through. So the fourth spot, we have 10 Incarnations of Rebellion by Vaishnavi Patel. This is an author that I've been trying to read for a while. I tried to read Kaiki. I didn't try to read Goddess of the River, but I was very much excited to get the e-arc from Ballantine Books to read the 10 Incarnations of Rebellion. However, I did not really enjoy this one. It's actually one of the books that I read, I think, in the month of July during my very slumpy summer, and I honestly was just not a fan of, I don't know, I think pacing was an issue. I'm trying to remember. It was so long ago, but I gave it like 2.25 stars. I don't quite remember. I think it was characters. Yeah, I think it was the main character. I think it was Kelki. Didn't like her character work. I thought the plot itself was pretty boring. I think there was something about the thematic work. I think thematically there was an issue, and I just don't remember what it was. I think it had to do with the idea of regarding rebellion and resistance and the history of resistance. Now, granted, the book is an alternate history of India's independence from the British. So it's an alternate history on regarding that, and it's a part of history that I'm not familiar with. But I did felt like the way that the book talked about resistance, especially comparing the resistance in India comparing to other places that resisted their colonizers, I felt like was, I don't know, it just rubbed me the wrong way. It rubbed me really the wrong way. So, yeah, did not like it at all. And I give it 2.25 stars. I mean, do I really recommend it? Now we're finally at the very bottom 3. Like, this is like literally the bottom of the barrel regarding worst books. At the third spot, we have A Drop of Corruption by Robert Jackson Bennett. I already have I think a book review video about this book, yeah. Because I really enjoyed The Tainted Cup and The Drop of Corruption, which is a sequel. Yeah, I got it as an e-arc from Del Rey, and yeah, this was a major miss. Like, I don't know how the heck I love the first book, and then the second book, I'm just like, what the fuck are we doing here? So I will link the book review video in the description down below. I'm not going to talk too much about it here, mostly because I don't even remember, not going to lie. But yeah, I do remember not liking the plot, not liking much of the characters anymore. I just didn't care about the world building anymore, and also I was really mad about the thematic work. I think a lot of my issues with these books, since I've actually finished them, is the thematic work. I did not like the messaging, like, at all. It was just really, really weird. And a little bit of the writing was also weird from Robert Jackson Bennett, and I no longer plan to read anything from that author. I know there's a third book in this series coming out in 2026. I'm not reading that shit. Y'all can have that. At the number 2 spot, we have Catabasis by R.F. Kuang. One of my most disappointing, and definitely is definitely the second place for worst books, because man, that book pissed me off so bad. I gave it 2 stars, which is, I think, is a little bit generous. I think I'd give it 2 stars though, because I read it so fast via audio. Also, I gave A Drop of Corruption 2 stars, but whatever. Catabasis though, what the hell was that book? I know it's I feel like Catabasis is one of those polarizing books by R.F. Kuang, even though I feel like every single one of R.F. Kuang's books is pretty polarizing. But I feel like this is the most, like, where do you really lie with this book? Because I feel like it was trying to be a romp through hell, but it was so not it, because I think the stakes regarding going through hell was not fully established. At least it's not high enough of stakes. And I didn't really like battering over the head as far as like, oh, academia is hell, like being in like a graduate program is hell, and the misogyny and the sexism that Alice, one of the main characters, experienced. I didn't care for that. Peter as a character, he wasn't really a character to me. And I was really mad actually when we got to his backstory. And I'm just like, wait, it's a very important thing regarding his backstory that doesn't really play a factor actually with how he interacts with other people throughout the book. So I think that's very, very weird. I'm not gonna lie, I don't know, I just really, really did not like this one. And I don't think I'll be reading any more books from R.F. Kuang in the future, to be quite honest. But the actual worst book, though, of 2025 is a book that I'm still upset that I even finished it. I should have DNF'd it, but I really am so upset that I even finished reading this book. I should have DNF'd, but I had to know. I just had to know. and that is Sweet Heat by Bolu Babalola. I already have a book review video for this one as well. I will also link it down below. I hated that book. I don't even know why that book even existed. Like, this is the same author who wrote Honey and Spice, right? Which is her debut novel. Then her sophomore novel is Sweet Heat, which is a standalone companion, but somewhat a sequel, really, to Honey and Spice. You don't need to read Honey and Spice to read Sweet Heat. However, I don't think it was necessary. We didn't need that book at all. Like, why on earth do you have the main characters of Honey and Spice, Kiki and Malachi, who meet in college, they fall in love and stuff, and then in between the books they break up, and then you start off with like Sweet Heat, where we don't even know why they broke up. We know that they broke up, but we don't know why they broke up. And I really hate the fact that this is supposed to be a second chance romance, but then we don't know coming into the book why they even broke up in the first place. So in my mind, what was the point? Why should I be reinvested back into this? I need to know, personally as a reader, this is just something I've learned now with Guardian's second chance romance. In order for me to invest it and even see these characters come back together again, I need to know within the first third of the book, why on earth did these characters break up in the first place? Like, what even happened? We didn't even know what happened until we're like over 400 pages into the book. And this is a very long romance. It's nearly 500 pages. I got it as an e-arc from William Morrow, which, hey, thanks to them for that, because I don't know. It was one of my most anticipated romance releases, that's for sure, because I was really excited to see where this will go, especially since it's second chance romance. And I've learned that, yeah, I am very particular with second chance romance. It is such a hit or miss trope. Like, you hit it, you hit it. If you miss it, you miss it. And I hated this one. I didn't even think that Kiki and Malachi should even come back together again. At that point, like, when I found out actually how on earth they even broke up, I was like, wait, this is why y'all broke up. And the thing about how the book even started and other ways that we come back together, I'm like, no, they should not have even come back together at all. What are we doing? Why are we wasting my time here? Just pissed me off so much. I don't understand what Bolu Babalola was thinking about publishing this book. Now, granted, I am in the minority of this book, because I know there's a lot of people. I have seen people put Sweet Heat by Bolu Babalola as one of their best books of 2025. And I'm so happy for y'all. I just wish I was one of y'all. I actually am jealous of the people who can put this book in their best books videos, or the best books posts on Instagram or whatever social media platform. I really do wish I'm one of y'all, because I'm not one of y'all. This is one of my worst books, actually the worst book that I have read, because I gave it 1.5 stars, and I'm so mad about that. Okay, I think I've calmed down. I think holding on to Pikachu right here kind of helped me to process these feelings and remember my feelings on each of these books. Anyways, that is it, y'all. That is all the books that I consider as the worst books of 2025. I mean, you already know. If you made this far in the video, you already know that these are just my opinions. I really don't want to do the whole disclaimer thing because, again, you know what video you clicked on, okay? You already know this. 2025 was a year that I really did prioritize quality over quantity. I just could not be bothered to finish books that I did not enjoy, even though there were just a small pinch few that managed to slip through the cracks. And also, I think also very telling for me to see that all of the books I have in this video are 2025 releases. Like, I got them as arcs, so I had quickly got access to the library and stuff. Like, it is not a good sign for me to just really realize that, wow, a lot of the books I read were new releases. Dang, like, I don't like that. So hopefully in 2026, I will read less new releases and just read more backlisted titles, because I really cannot be bothered to read more new releases and have the same issue again in 2026, where a lot, or if not all, of my worst books of 2026 are new releases as well. I don't want that kind of energy, okay? So hopefully this is the last time, at least in a good long minute, where all of the books I talk about in a video like this are new releases. But again, thank you again for watching this video. Like if you like it. Comment down below in the comments your worst books of 2025. Like, what were the absolute worst books? And you like this video, you like my vibe, you like seeing more content from me in the future, I do recommend subscribing if you have not done so already. Now, you made it this far in the video, you're not sure what to say, but you want to leave me an emoji to let me know that you're here. You gotta leave me the X emoji, you know, like to show, like, yeah, we were very upset. This is a on those books, you know. Anyways, thank you again for watching this video, and I really do hope to see you all in my next one. Bye.